Hey guys, Shane here, Just Flight Simmer. Welcome to another episode of Test Drive. If you haven't seen these before, this is where we take a scenery, an aircraft, or utility, and I'll take it for a spin around the block on different simulators and give you my first impressions, and I'll give you my recommendations if it's worth value for money. In today's video, we have got a double header installed. We're going to be checking out Just Flight's new release, the Cessna 152, and also what not better way than fly low and slow. While we do that, we're going to be checking out Orbx's new CityScene release of the Gold Coast. So we've been saying that, let's jump outside and do a bit of a walk around the 152. The Just Flight C152 has been brought to you by the same team that made the Arrow 3, the Turbo Arrow, and the Warrior within P3D and Flight Sim X and X-Plane. So you can see straight away the quality of workmanship that has gone into the exterior of the aircraft. The 3D modeling is at a high quality. All the bump mapping and the texturing is really good. I love the effect there. It's like dust or grease built up for a very long time in the C152. Now these things were, around going back in the 70s. So this one here is a Australian livery. There is, I think it's about 8 liveries all up. A couple of US, couple of English ones, a German one, French and Canada, and also an Australian one. The 152 also comes with a bunch of animations other than flaps, rudders and ailerons and whatnot. The doors open, the sun visors move up and down. The exhaust on the engine rattles around. It is a very windy day here at the Gold Coast, so we are using the Just Flight tie downs and chocks that come with the 152. But I always believe in the saying, a picture gives you 1,000 words or something to that effect anyway, and as you can see by just looking at the 152, yeah, she's been through a few hours of flying and she's a bit rough looking, but Just Flight have done, I believe, a very high quality job in the exterior of the aircraft. I really like things as the little details, such as all the different parts in the engine, all the movable parts there. You can actually see them moving around when the prop is turning, which is really cool. But with in saying all that, I think it's time to get this bird in the air because we've got a lot of scenery to check out. So we'll jump in and do a quick start. Welcome to the cockpit of the C152. There is a bunch of manuals that are being provided by Just Flight for this aircraft, so if you're not familiar with GA aircraft, it will give you up and running pretty quickly, but if you're familiar, you can pretty much work it out all for yourself. But if you like the finer details, they're all in the manuals, which is great. So we're just removing the control lock there. We'll get rid of the yoke so you can see me turn the battery and the alternator on, I should say. We'll put our beacon and nav lights on so everybody can see that we're about to start our engines. And a big stretch all the way down to the bottom, just under the seat, is where you'll find the fuel cutoff valve to switch it on. So we've put the mixture rich and we're just about to flick on the valve. Now it's time to prime the engine on the 152, and I really like doing this because you get to use the left mouse button to bring the primer out and then the right mouse button to push the primer in, which is pretty cool. It gives you that little bit of extra sense of immersion for the 152. So we've got the key in there ready to go. I'll just bring the camera view up so you can see the prop kick around, and we'll get this aircraft started. So I've got everything configured and ready to go. We're just going to release the parking brake on, and we've got our taxi light on. So you need to increase the throttle just under 50% to really get the aircraft going. Remember, this is pretty much a go-kart with wings. It doesn't have that much power because it's used as a training aircraft. It has been around since the I believe production was about late 70s through to the mid 80s, so it was just a new variant of the Cessna 150. So it does take a while for it to move along, but once you get going, it is a real ease to taxi around, which is a lot of fun. So today's flight, we are taking off from the Gold Coast International Airport. So this is not a payware airport at this stage, but I have heard rumours that Orbx is perhaps developing this since they've done the CityScene. So that would be really cool. The weather is quite breezy today. We've got a strong headwind, as you can see here. I believe we'll be taking off runway 14. So being a light GA aircraft, it should throw us around a bit and give us a real sense of how the 152 will fly in a bit of a breeze, which will be pretty cool. Now, for all you guys that are playing at home, I live pretty close to the Gold Coast, so it's very exciting to have such detailed scenery near a place where you live. I actually travel or go down there on long weekends or a little mini holiday for the Gold Coast. So I'll be very interested to see how accurate the scenery is going to be, and I think it's going to be pretty cool to be able to fly around a place that you know so well. So back to the C152, some interesting facts about the Just Flight release is it has spark plug fouling, a limited battery life and vapor lock, and a few other failures built into the aircraft, which is cool because it makes it feel like it's a live piece of machinery, and you need to treat it well and you need to look after it. So we're just coming up to where we're just going to hold short here. We'll get the aircraft ready and then we'll take off. Aircraft is configured and ready to go. I'm not going to be using any flaps on this takeoff today as it is quite gusty, and it should take off pretty much by itself on a very short distance. But within saying it, I'll be quiet. Please enjoy, and I'll come back to you shortly. Now that was pretty straightforward. Now just trimming the aircraft to getting those finer details going. Now I've actually flown in a 152 before. I haven't been the pilot, but I've flown in a 152, and when you're moving the yoke around and rolling the aircraft, it has that same feeling that I got when I actually flew in an aircraft many years to go. But we're just going to keep going here to reach about 500 feet, and then we're going to make a left U-turn and head our way down the coast, and we're going to fly down to the city centre of the Gold Coast and show the high-rise buildings and the scenery there. So we're just beginning our left turn now. I'm expecting to have quite a fair bit of a tailwind flying down to the city centre of the Gold Coast, so that should be pretty quick. Flying back is going to be like going 2 steps forward or 1 step back. But the coastline is in our view, and shortly we should have the city buildings in view. But some stats on CityScene's the Gold Coast. They've actually used over 69,000 custom objects, 119,000 accurately placed buildings, and 1.12 million trees were used. As you can see the buildings there. That is absolutely insane, and I will say this, and you guys will get to see it later on. The performance around here, and I've pretty much got my settings pumped up all the way, is insane. It's pretty good. But within saying that, I think it's time to have a look at the outside of the C152 in action and have a look. So talk to you soon. Past 1,300 feet in altitude, so I think it's time to take a look around the cabin of the cockpit. So first things first is that Just Flight have a bunch of different menus that they come with the aircraft, so you can change your panel state, toggle engine management on or off, toggle cockpit saver, toggle panel selector, and also toggle the fuel manual. So we go in here, and this is where you can top up your oils and your fuel and make sure that your C152 is in working order, because if you run out of oil, the engine's not going to like you on this aircraft. Also, they've included the Arrow menu, which is the same that they've done in the Arrow products, where you can do automatic engine start, checklist, also your flight computer. I find this very, very handy for cross-country flying, and also access to a tow bar as well. But I generally cross this off when I'm flying, but it's great to have those things in the C152 as well. So I've just removed the yoke so we can have a look around the cockpit. This is only a two-seater, so it's not going to take long, but one of my favourite things with the texturing of inside the VC is the scratches on the frame of the window there. That is absolutely awesome. I really like that look. But you can see that the high level of detail on the instrument panels there, everything clicks and works and has its all own custom sound. So a very, very high quality. I love how the needles are moving around for the fuel tanks there. And as we go up to the overhead, there's no overhead panel in this aircraft, but you can see again the sun visors will move up and down, but very, very good quality texturing and 3D modeling. We'll move down and take a look at the foot area of the aircraft, and I was a big fan of this in the Arrow series, and they've done very, very good here. Like, it's a cleaner looking aircraft, but you can see it's got wear and tear. You've got the blue feet mats there that have got all the scuffs and stuff, and I like it as they've modelled the wiring for the trim wheel. How cool is that? Absolutely a fantastic job that Just Flight have done. So turning around, having a look at the seat work there, we'll move into the back, but not that there is much to see. So I'm moving through the back there. Obviously there's a room for luggage, and you pretty much got a fire extinguisher, but pretty good to do views out of the back. But all the different plate cards and things like that are very easy to read on the aircraft and being modelled well. You can even read the sign there. It says 120 kilos or pounds of luggage available. So we'll just turn it around so you can get a bit of a look from a cockpit angle. But nice work, Just Fly. Again, from the in-house team, they've done a fantastic job when it comes to the texturing and the 3D modeling within the cockpit. But we'll just get a bit closer to the gauges so you can see all the 3D modeling that's being put into the panel there as well. So that was the cockpit tour of the Just Flight C152. It's been a little bit bumpy as we're flying up to the Orbx CityScenes of the Gold Coast. I'm going to leave the scenery to tell the story, and I won't comment too much on the scenery, but we're pretty much going to fly up to the coast and do a 180 and come back and do a bit of a mega montage. So I'll come back to you. So that was very interesting to see the Gold Coast there. There was a lot of buildings that I recognised, and the theme parks, and even saw the buildings or the hotel where I normally stay at when I actually come down to the Gold Coast. So that's pretty cool, very detailed, and the performance is pretty good considering there is so many custom buildings and vegetation and whatnot. So we're going to make a left-hand turn here and do a 180, and we're going to fly over the other side of the Gold Coast, over the marina and stuff like that, and head our way back to the Gold Coast airport. It's going to take a little while to get there. As I said, there's going to be a pretty strong headwind, and this is pretty much a go-kart with wings on it, so it will take us a while. But we've been saying that. We'll cut to another montage on the way back, and I'll come back to you as we're on final into Gold Coast International Airport. Welcome back to the cockpit. I'm hoping you enjoyed the two montages of the Orbx Gold Coast city scenes. We are on final now for runway 14 into Gold Coast International Airport. Crabbing a little bit and getting a lot of headwind, so it's making it quite interesting. I've got two notches of flaps, but because we're such a light aircraft, we are getting it blown around like a paper plane. But we've been saying that I'm going to be quiet now so you guys can enjoy the landing, and then I'll come back to you just as we've touched down. And touchdown. Not a very good one, but it was one, and I can say the C152 likes to float like a champion. But let's take a quick look at the replay, and I'll come back to you with my final thoughts. So my final thoughts for the Just Flight C152, it's a very similar quality to the Arrow 3, the Turbo Arrow and the Warrior, so pretty good, and I really think it's actually good value for money. So well done Just Flight, great to see another GA aircraft out there. As for Orbx City Scenes, performance is great and attention to detail is fantastic, and loving having another Australian scenery out there, and again I think that's pretty good value for money, just under $25 Australian. Thank you very much for watching another video. If you actually like this one and you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button so you can see more content. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers, have an awesome day.